2023 Auburn University Marching Band. For your halftime entertainment, we celebrate the 43-year reign of the speed metal kings, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage for the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Sunday evening is back once again, and that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast, episode 149. One more to go to 150. Coming up to you right now. 2 main topics to cover in this, as always, and Auburn potpourri to catch you up on the latest Auburn news and sports, culture, and family stuff. Let's get into all those different things right now. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. The easier way to say it, though, is if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing. Episode 149 of the Auburn Experience podcast. As always, I'm your co-host number 1, if you want to call me that. I know it's not number 1 in your hearts, but number 1 coming off the call list here, Kyle Loomis. Number 1 in your hearts, but number 1 off the call, number 2 off the call list, Mr. Austin Scott. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks so much. War Eagle to you, War Eagle to our viewers and listeners. Hope everyone's having a splendid week. We have hit November. I don't know about you, Kyle, but on the loveliest village on the plains, it's starting to feel it.
I was going to try to do a little Mariah Carey thing there, and it wasn't.
No.
Is it too early? Is it too early?
Well, look, and we've had this discussion on the show before, and we are approaching 150. So we've probably had this discussion twice now.
Probably,
if not 3 times.
Yeah.
Being a father has softened my little Grinch heart on starting Christmas a little bit earlier. I'm not full blown ready yet, as I'm sure. I bet you. Well, other circumstances, right? I bet you've got lights planned to be coming up soon.
Yeah, I got lots. But
I will say, and this kind of leads into a little bit of my week. The little Christmas snow village at Austin's house has been broken out, and it is in the process of getting to be put together, with Sanford Hall rightfully put in the middle.
I'm glad we're starting here, because you and I are like, it's like we do a show together or something. That was what I was coming ready to talk about to start this week too. So let's cover yours first. Certainly, folks, we're going to get into it here. Main topics, potpourri, all that stuff. But it's Christmas time, and if you've been here before, it's Christmas time.
It's beginning.
It's Christmas time,
like Christmas. Okay,
it is Christmas time. And so
slow our roll here.
when October is done, that is when we kick it into gear. My Christmas tree is already up. The Auburn, the Auburn ornaments are not up yet. But anyway, so let's talk about your thing. I love the fact that you do a Christmas village with Sanford Hall. Now, is that the only piece of a snow village that's Auburn for you?
Now, yes. And let me preface this by I'm a bit of a snow village snob here, because I there's a certain series that I like within the Department 56, and Sanford Hall is not a part of that. It's just it just kind of it fits well enough when you sprinkle some powdered sugar on there to make it all snowy. And I got that, if you remember from our post-Christmas episode last year, we did a little show and tell at lunch. And I got Sanford Hall from my dad, even though it's not part of it. And Sanford Hall stays up on the shelf year round. But it makes its way into the snow village of Austin around this time. So that's the Auburn flair of it. I'm hoping and really hoping that maybe this year for Christmas, Santa brings me some parts of my snow village so I can add a little Auburn twist to. We'll see if it comes down the chimney.
You know, I feel like Obby Claus could help a little bit with that.
He could.
You know what I'm saying?
We will be paying. I haven't even told you this. We will be paying a visit to Auburn Claus, and pictures will be presented on our show.
Look, I'm just saying, Obby Claus is the best clause of them all. Let's just be honest out there. Santa's great, but Obby Claus is the best clause of them all because he's got claws, and I feel like I'm Dr. Seuss now rolling through this. At this point.
I just hope that our boys think Obby Claus is a little bit better than last year.
Yeah, that didn't.
It was a priceless photo, but that's about it.
Oh man. Okay, so but here on this note. I hope you do get something to begin an Auburn Village. Certainly, Jordan Hare would make a lot of sense for your next one.
It would. It would.
Wink for anybody watching that knows Austin.
There is the Department 56 Snow Village football stadium. I could tweak around and add some different colors too. That's all I'm saying.
There's got to be one for Neville too, don't you think? Like just a figurine that you.
So we're really going down the rabbit hole here.
Let's do it.
I have looked up. So on the bottom of the Sanford Hall, I think it's called Campus Collections or Campus Collectibles or something like that, and you can find like these are retired now, but a long time ago, they made these figurines for multiple schools. And I believe the only ones that were done for Auburn by Campus Collections or Campus Collectibles, I don't remember which one, is Sanford, Langdon, and the Chapel. Those are the only three that I'm aware of, and that I've seen on eBay for astronomical prices. But I'm sure there's been other figurines created. One of my coworkers has one that was a donor gift for an event a long time ago that she got to have, and it's Beard Eves, and like the top comes off, and you can see it looks very cool.
Does the asbestos come with it?
I hope not, because I've looked at it multiple times now, up close and personal.
It's neither confirmed nor denied, folks, but I just say it's an old building. You do the math. Look, I would love to see this grow and us document it over the years. We might have to get like a little like real video of you making it, like growing and changing over the years, something like that.
I would love that. I will definitely, once I get it set up and in the way I like it this year and all lit up and snow abounds, I'll post it on my socials.
So this is why this is a great segue into just getting us started and rounding off, because I want to put a challenge out there to our audience, the greater Auburn family that's seeing us, finding us out there. I want to know how you implement Auburn into your Christmas, right? Certainly ornaments. Maybe you do a village like Austin here. Maybe you got stockings. Maybe you do a whole light show with the fight song. I've seen that before. I haven't seen that recently, but
please send us your address if you do, because I will be there every night with the windows down for free entertainment for my children.
What if it's in North Dakota?
Well, then I'm just going to need you to move a little bit further south.
Seriously though, like I would love to go like document some of that and do a little showcase on it. Anyway, if you're listening, watching this clip, this segment of the show, please, E2C Network at gmail.com. Direct messages are open. We want to see and hear like favorite ornaments that you have, things like that. Let's have fun with this Christmas. I'm gonna probably like annoy you for the next several weeks.
Or Thanksgiving. If you celebrate, if you're a normal person and you decide to let Thanksgiving have its love, then
Thanksgiving's fine. It's great. It's great to give thanks, but Christmas is here, and it's a good time. I'm gonna try not to do the Mariah Carey thing again here. That's our challenge. That's our issue of an assignment of homework to our audience. We want to know how you're implementing Auburn into your Christmas, how about this, Austin, your holidays.
I'm not asking that. I'm just saying if you have an Auburn turkey you bring out every year, we want to see it.
Is it like dyed in the middle? Like you don't have the white meat, the dark meat. You got the orange meat, and the blue meat.
It's just a fake turkey that's got an Auburn jersey on. That's all I want to see.
Okay, we can get your sons to do the little hand turkey thing with the they put every other feather is orange and blue.
Yeah.
Think now we've given them homework.
We will.
All right. Well, that's your challenge, folks. And certainly we want to implement Auburn in anything that we can here, even the holiday times for you all. Let's get started with the main show here. Auburn Potpourri is going to get us kicked off here. And Austin, you can tell I'm in a good mood because it's Christmas time, and Christmas just came early in all sense of the word for me. Personally, I don't know if y'all heard that like gleeful squealing that ringed out across the Southeast. I believe it was Friday, maybe, or Thursday, one of the two, when a certain announcement came across all of our screens that Auburn will be, for the first time in football ever, playing Da, 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 da. Notre Dame is going to play Auburn football in a home-and-home series starting in 27, finishing in 28 here in Jordan-Hare Stadium. If they don't move it somewhere else, I know I'm going to go ahead and take the joke from everybody else. We did it. We did it, Austin. We did it.
Auburn football will play beneath touchdown Jesus. It's going to happen. This I really didn't think we'd ever see this day. We have talked about this. You and I have talked about this many times on the show that it's almost as we skip over it when we talk about who do you want. These are our summer topics. Who do you want Auburn to play?
Right.
Who off Clint's list are we going to cross off?
Yes.
And we just skip over. Okay, don't say Notre Dame because that's everybody's. But what's your next one? Just because it's always been a foregone conclusion, this is what we want to do, and Cohen and the athletic department in this day and age found a way to do it. And I think that from what I've heard and what I understand, there was the kind of disconcernment about the Baylor move to Atlanta was heard. There were other plans in the mix for what next year and the year after look like, with maybe a couple more neutral site games, but Cohen and the athletic department found a way to get Notre Dame on the books for a home and home in just a couple years. You hear about these home and homes usually, and it's like 10 years from now, it's going to be awesome. This is just 2 years away when Auburn plays in South Bend, Indiana. And I think that you earned a lot of good brownie points with the Auburn family this week by doing it. I'm pumped. I will be doing everything I can. I will be doing everything I can because that is I told my friend, some of my best friends in the world, I met at Auburn. I'm so thankful that I did. But some of my best friends that we did Penn State, and I texted them and I said, this is bigger. Now y'all, I need everybody on the same page here because this is bigger. And so it's coming, man. It's happening and it's coming. And I think I don't think there's a person sad about it.
If you're sad about Auburn finally playing Notre Dame, then you're not an Auburn fan. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
I don't understand what there is to be sad about. Now,
I mean, great.
It adds quite a level to that 2027 schedule Kyle and I already discussed, but it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be fun. It does really make up for what felt like on paper a little bit of a lackluster home schedule for that year, with Alabama and Georgia obviously still being on the same schedule of being either home or away. Won't get into that again here, but I'm excited, man. I've been praying for this, not in the blasphemous sense, in the just having fun with this, but like I've dreamed of this forever, and it's going to happen. On that note, like I was disappointed when UCLA canceled, because it's a one on the list that was going to be crossed off, and we're going to. I don't have it here prepared today, but maybe I can do that on the post show or whatever for people to see the clip of Clint's thing that he's put out with 43 of 135 remaining FBS teams still remaining that Auburn hasn't played. I was wanting to check UCLA off. I was also trying to tie a little other trip in there as well with that, but and you still could have done that with USC, who I think still was available for those dates. I had no clue, Austin, that Notre Dame, Rudy, the site of Rudy. Let's not get into whether Rudy was real or not, or how much it was made up, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't made up; they just embellished things a lot. But I'm over the moon. I cannot be more excited.
I remember when we talked about the UCLA cancellation, and other folks had already done this. Really, it wasn't like Kyle and I were crashing the schedule books, but there was only a few out there that really could make sure Wow.
Well, sorry about that. I was doing some adjusting on the fly there. Just move on.
It's a very small side note. I have one of those at work now, and I'm obsessed with it. Anyway. There were only a few teams that could actually accommodate and fit in Auburn's schedule, and we all knew like Notre Dame was out there, but they're independent. They have a little more freedom. But nobody was really thinking it. It was thinking, I think USC and Virginia. That was about it. And Auburn figures out a way to get Notre Dame, and I mean, I think it's just very, very exciting. I'm pumped.
I couldn't be more excited about
for
this.
both. I know we're like the headlines are South Bend and touchdown Jesus and going to Notre Dame and everything, but like to have Notre Dame come play in Jordan-Hare Stadium in just 3 years is just awesome.
All right. Last part about this that we've got to talk about and cover is everybody asked the question, what's next? Auburn just announced Notre Dame for 27-28. And again, Clint Richardson's graphic is out there. 43 of 135 remaining teams in the FBS that Auburn is yet to play. Notre Dame will be crossed off this list unless something happens like the UCLA thing, which was supposed to be happening and crossed off in those 2 years. I just want to throw out some names to you of the higher profiles, Austin, and you give me your top 1, 2, 3, whatever that you want to see crossed off next. I know we need to focus on Notre Dame. We already did that, but that's what people want to hear. Who's the next person that you want crossed up there? So I'm going to throw some high profile ones off the list to you. Arizona State, BYU. Let's go with Illinois, Iowa State. Let's go with maybe Navy, Oklahoma State, Pitt, Stanford, UCLA, obviously, Utah. And I think I hit the majority of the ones that people would consider major on that list. Who stuck out to you? Who do you want off that list?
BYU.
Interesting. I did not anticipate you go BYU. Is there a reason, or just because it's just intriguing?
It's the one that stood out.
Yeah.
I've heard like very good things.
Yeah.
They have the ice cream tradition. I don't know if you're aware of the ice cream tradition. No. They're a very accommodating fan base. In the fourth quarter, every away person in the stands, they bring you free ice cream. Okay. They just bring it to you. Out of their Mormon hearts, they just bring you the ice cream.
Was not aware of this.
So fun fact: one of my best friends from high school is a big Mississippi State fan. You're well aware of them. They made the trip to BYU when State played at home and home with BYU. They had this happen to them. They fourth quarter, they bring out ice cream. They're like, "This is great." Well, the next year, the Cougars returned to Starkville to trade it off. BYU has a very famous campus creamery on campus, and they brought ice cream out to the BYU fans at the State game. So free ice cream sounds great once and for all. But I mean, I think beautiful area. I think BYU, and I mean, you mentioned Utah. I should say Utah too, because they're right by each other. Yeah. Either one I think would be fun. I don't feel like Auburn they don't go out west much, period, but the Midwest especially too would be good. Oklahoma State jumped off the page to me too, just out of probably because of Oklahoma. But
yeah. I would say I think of like a couple different ways, like you said, whether it's the matchup or just what you get with the matchup, the picturesque of BYU or Utah out there, going to LA, California, UCLA, if we could ever get that back and get that knocked off is great. Oklahoma State, Iowa State, those seem to me to fit this little bit of orange battle there as well. Arizona State, for some reasons, got me intrigued. Now, it's not just because Kenny Dillingham's out there, but currently, but I just, that's probably the one that I would pick off this list that's left. Again, today, as of this week, Notre Dame will be scheduled for 27-28. So we're excited no matter what, whether we're talking about Notre Dame or the future. We just wanted to get ourselves on the record for who do we want next, because we won, Austin. We got it done.
We got it. I now need a new number one, and I couldn't be happier about it.
The number one is off the list, and it is a great day to be an Auburn Tiger fan and an Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan. All right, the rest of Auburn Potpourri says we spent way too much time on that. We'll give you a little bit of culture here, at least in a sense. Now, I'm going to preface this, folks, and I'm looking right in the camera at you, right into the microphone. If you can't put aside your emotions of this next subject, then you're going to need to turn your ears off and move away for a few seconds, because we're going to talk about all aspects of things. So this is of the political nature, and if this upsets you, tough. I'm sorry. All right. So Turning Point USA is obviously a big thing in for a long time, but with obviously the assassination of Charlie Kirk and all that, they're continuing on his legacy and doing their campus tours. Auburn was on that list, and they had some high profile people come to campus, and whether you agree with it or not doesn't really matter, but that's a pretty big deal for Auburn to be able to host one of those things. And from what I understand, the late Charlie Kirk even said the Auburn chapter was one of his favorite chapters that he got to visit or participate with, all that kind of stuff. So you may know some of the names, definitely a few of them. Benny Johnson showed up. Eric and Laura Trump showed up to talk, as well as Senator maybe soon to be governor of Alabama, Tommy Tuberville, former Auburn head football coach. So a lot of excitement there. It looked like a pretty big crowd from what I could see of the pictures. You know, you never know what angle they're taking things at, but from the line, it looked like it was the length of the basketball outside to get in using those stanchions. No incidents as far as I know. So I think everything went pretty off without a hitch, and hopefully Auburn represented themselves well in that way.
Yeah, truthfully, I knew it was happening. I remember when it was announced they were going on the kind of campus-wide tours. That Auburn was early on the list. I don't feel, probably because it was more pointed towards students. I don't feel like I heard about it that much leading up to it, and then literally the next morning was like, oh, that was yesterday. So didn't really get to take in the crowds or see what kind of the feedback was leading up to the event, but definitely, like you said, from pictures, from news articles, all the things, looks like a really big turnout. Pretty interesting. The night before a home basketball game, so they were able to squeeze it in there. I'm sure the facilities crew did a great job turning things around really quickly, but lots of high profile people on campus, like you said. And that's always really an interesting time when Auburn University hosts people like that. This is nothing new. They've had very high profile individuals before.
Yep.
But to get to do it in Neville Arena and kind of pack it out for that was interesting. So, you know, newsworthy headlines for Auburn University, and obviously very thankful that everything was peaceful, respectful, and normal.
Yeah, and Trump called in, like the president called into the thing, whether that was prepared, staged, you know, like that's cool. He calls in, called Auburn a special place. He said the things you're supposed to say, all that kind of stuff. So it looked like it went off great, which is what we want. And whether you agree with it or not, if there's going to be an event held, you want Auburn to be represented well in how things go off, all that kind of stuff. So great to see Auburn.
You never know
that. You never know.
The president might be making a trip to Auburn soon. You never know.
Are we like?
You never know.
I'm just going to try to move on from that. But all right. So there you have it. A little bit of political Auburn culture news for this week on the show. I was not ready for that. Last thing, let's get back to sports here. And while we did cover this on the show last week, kind of last minute, because we were waiting for things to finish up, I do want us to take a second here to kind of put a bow on the first athletic season that started this year and now has ended. The first one to officially wrap up, and that is Auburn soccer. The very first year under James Armstrong, coming back to take over the legendary Get to the Hopper. You know, still
Get to the Hopper.
Get to the Hopper. We miss you, Karen Hopper, but we're glad to see you still around Auburn and participating and supporting James Armstrong and his new leadership for the Auburn soccer program. A little bit of a rough year to start off in terms of that, not to be too shocking. Transition years can be a tad bit of roughness to them. We'll
just remember that line right there, folks.
Not talking about anything else whatsoever. So 5, 6, and 7. Wow, is the record. Now, what
were the last two numbers there?
5, 6, and 7.
6, 7. Okay. Just wondering.
I'm going to move on from that because I just don't want to even deal with that right now. 5, 6, and 7, because I was trying to go a different way with it. 5 wins, 6 losses. Austin, 7 ties.
Yeah,
now, this is not a reflection on. This shouldn't even be possible for us to tie in a sport. Like I know it's soccer. Like it's not. I'm barking up the wrong tree here, or growling up the wrong tree. But I saw 7 ties, and that. Why can't we shoot out? Like shoot out in the goals and all that kind of stuff.
It does seem the more interesting route to decide a victor there.
I don't know, man. I don't know. 4-2-1 in non-conference, 1-3-6 in SEC play, and that's really where it got pretty rough for them. And if you follow
6 ties in SEC play,
and so here's the thing, and here's the one benefit of all the ties. You got a reflection of how. Hold on, everybody just gear up here. How close Auburn was to turn.
Just say near. How near
Auburn was to making this record look a little bit different. Things like that. They were competitive throughout most of the year here. I mean, officially only 6 losses on the year. Aaron Fleury was one of those names who was I had a joke I was going to make there, flurry of scoring, but it didn't roll off the tongue. Ayana Yapo as a redshirt freshman goalie looks great. I know it's not the way we wanted it to go, Austin, but it was exciting to watch the first year.
Yeah, exciting year nonetheless. Lots of learning for James Armstrong and the crew, and look, he's no stranger to what it takes to lead a SEC program. He's been doing it. It's just like Kyle said, a year transition, a year where a lot of new faces and new relationships being developed. So just a difficult year. Obviously, I think you have to be. Nobody likes a tie. Right. Let's just put it there. But nobody likes a loss either. And I think you have to prefer that you don't lose as many as you won or tied. And so if you could just figure out a way to close them out in several of those, and we're probably talking about a lot of different season. Yeah. This sounds pretty familiar. But I think that the SEC play and having 6 ties in SEC play spells it all. Just one way or the other, if you get them as losses or get them as wins, you talk about it totally different than when you are. So an overall good building first year. And I think we all are looking forward to seeing what comes of the next year under the Armstrong era of Auburn soccer, and hopefully more and more to build on.
And keep in mind, folks, that there is a spring season usually where they'll even play games. Obviously they don't count for anything other than just getting you a spring practice and spring reps and things like that. So I would imagine some of that will come to the Auburn Soccer Complex, aka the HAPA. But we'll talk about that when that news arises. Sad to see the season over with them, but proud that they got the new Armstrong era rolling. We'll continue to watch and cover them as that continues to grow and change. That's going to be Auburn potpourri for us. Let us jump into our first main topic of the evening. Yes, we are going to talk about football. And yes, it is a new era of Auburn football. And yes, they are still, drum roll please, close. The Auburn Tigers fall to the Vanderbilt Commodores, the mighty Imagine if you are in 1990 to early 2000s hearing the ranked Vanderbilt Commodores, the unranked Auburn Tigers, and it's a overtime win in Nashville for Vanderbilt. I mean, that's quite the serendipity there. If you're a bunch of different eras like we are, you're not that old, Austin. I'm not that much older than you, but a little bit. I can remember a time back in my day, Vanderbilt was the laughing stock of the SEC, and things have quite changed a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I've seen a few more losses to Vanderbilt than I'd prefer. But, especially as they have it right now, they've got a pretty good coach, pretty good quarterback, pretty good offense. We'll see how all that plays out after they all finally retire, if they're allowed, unless we sue for more eligibility. But it was good. It was a good offensive showing, and there's lots to be proud of. Like you said, it was close. I think we surprised a lot of people, and I think a lot of people I hope a lot of people were feeling maybe a renewed sense of hope and optimism here after this one today. But let's get into it here.
Yeah. Maybe the big points we need to hit: Pavia, how Durkin did in his debut as interim head coach, and we had an actual exciting offense to talk about in this game. And maybe I guess we need to do some grades in there as well. First off, let's just address it. Diego Pavia is 3-0 versus Auburn, twice at Vanderbilt, once at New Mexico State. I know that's triggering for a lot of Auburn people out there. It's done. It's over with, unless, as you said, there's another finagling of eligibility that can happen. The nightmare's over. But we took him down to the wire and made him sweat. And I think at times made a very talented guy struggle a little bit. Not struggle is not a right word, I say, but kept him in check because he is very dynamic, very talented. It's one of those guys that you kind of look at him. I kind of compare him to a Michael Carrera, if you remember that name in basketball, that just like, why is he able to do the things that he is able to do? So that's over with. Are you glad to see him gone? Any thoughts about that?
Yes, I'm very glad to not have to play Diego Pavia again. I think I said this last year, though. So, like we said, who really knows
Mark it now.
what Pavia will be doing in his Chad Baker-Mazar year next year? But I think that, like you said, he's an incredibly good, talented player. We've all known that for the last 3 years by getting to watch it up close and personal. Obviously, last year when it was in Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn was able to hold Diego in check a lot. Did not really have that great a day. Did just good enough to win, but had a much better day yesterday, and just absolutely career highs on both fronts. I think didn't have an interception. I don't think didn't have a turnover, and so just about as good of a day as you can ask for. I think the part everybody did not expect was the Auburn offense to respond and match him almost every step of the way.
Yeah.
So just impressive in a lot of fronts. But Diego Pavia, I think, certainly will continue to garner all sorts of recognition, and as he should. He's an incredible talent, an incredible competitor that's really fun to watch when it's not against your team.
Yeah, well, and I wish I could sit here confidently say it's over like I did at the start of this, but you never know. The nightmare may still continue.
Really not sure. Yeah,
we're just not sure. We may be talking about this again in a year, since Auburn and Vanderbilt will be playing every year for the next 4 years on that new scheduling. Maybe let's park the Durkin analysis and assessment of that real quick. I'd like to get our grades and thoughts real quick. So I'll start us off on Auburn offense. I'm going to go A+. 500 yards of offense, 2 100-yard wide receivers, 1 rusher in over 100 yards, and a passer for over 300 yards. First time since 2004. Yes, that team that has happened, which is weird to think. I thought Cam, I know we didn't have like the wide receivers that everybody screams about, but you had Darvin Adams, you had Emory Blake, you had all these.
Two of them in one game is
it's hard to do.
Yeah, you would think that one of those games of like, whether it was Arkansas that was like 60s to 50s or gosh, what was the other oh my gosh, the SEC championship against South Carolina when they had over 50, you would think somebody had 200 receiving games, but no, it was the 04 SEC championship the last time that happened, and some big names in Auburn football history with that one, but just it's mind-boggling, right? Like it is truly surprising to see that kind of performance 6 days after your head coach is let go. But it really, simplicity of it all is it boils down to something we'd heard a lot of over the year of we just have to get the ball in our best players' hands. For whatever reason, up until this week, that hadn't happened regularly and enough to put points on the board. It happened this week because they all got the ball as much as they could have asked for, and did wonderful things with it. So I'm with you. I don't know what you could have asked for more out of this offense. I think
maybe
there's
less
still
false starts,
less penalties. There's still mental mistakes out there, and I'm going to chalk a little bit. The line was reshuffled for this week. There's still some holding calls by some repeat offenders that just keep happening. You want to clean those up, and you hope that maybe now with a renewed sense of confidence in this offense that maybe you can harp on those a little bit more here in the last couple of games of the year. But that performance was unbelievable for what we've seen from this offense all year long. To go on the road against the playoff team and do that. Wow. So yeah, I'm with you. I think I'll give it an A+.
A+. Yeah, I think obviously you need to recognize the penalties, things like that. But I mean, listen, we've been for scraps of offense this year, so I don't think
you can't go below A-. You just I don't see any way. If you want to be the nitpicky one about it,
go ahead.
Go A-, go for it. But I just don't see how you go below that.
And then we get to the defense, which I heard this theory thrown out there that did the detention that was required for him to take away DJ Durkin as the defensive coordinator, but there's other responsibilities. Did that result in what we happened? I don't think it's that simple. I think obviously he was stretched more this week than he has, but this is the same defense, the same staff. And so you got to think that you just ran into a good offense, folks. Like it's no more than that. And at some point, you're going to find someone that checks you the way that you haven't been checked before. Durkin talked a little bit afterwards, said that, they ran some stuff we were not prepared for, anticipating, and we had to adjust on the fly. And by the time we do, they scored some points. And then you got talented people like Diego Pavia. So it's really difficult for me to grade this one because, yes, you play a little bit better defense, you win the game, and you don't even go to overtime. You go first. What do you?
No,
what do you got? Sorry, I'm struggling.
You cheapskate.
I went first the last time.
On the easy one,
I
yeah, I'm with you. You know, it's you can't say that Durkin, assuming everything that happened this week didn't affect the defensive preparation at all. It had to play a little part in it. It also had to play a part for everybody, though. Like, everybody is scrambling to figure out what practice looks like, who's coaching what specifically, how are we going to mix this thing around, and we got to keep prepping for Vanderbilt. I think this is from Justin Ferguson, the Auburn Observer. This is the number 2 metric analytically offense Auburn was going to face this year. And so they're already a really good offense. And now you got to kind of scramble and shift some coaching around with that. But I think it, like you mentioned, it more plays into what Coach Durkin said post-game, is that Vanderbilt came with something they hadn't shown a lot of this year, with tempo, spread offense, mixing some things around more than what they had been doing. And it ends up kind of hurting Auburn before they can recover enough. That's a credit to Vanderbilt for me, more than anything. They saw this Auburn defense as what it was, which is an elite defense that before yesterday had not given up more than 24 points a game, and decided to break out the book for it, which they ended up needing to do. Like, if you go into this and let's say Auburn allows only 24 points, like you could become accustomed to them doing, Auburn wins going away. And so it's a credit to them. I think they did exactly what they needed to do to make sure they still had an advantage. So it's obviously a disappointing game for the defense. I think they hold themselves to a higher standard more than anything. Obviously they gave up the points though. And so I think you have to go like a C- here is probably what I'll go. I'm trying to remember. I think they forced one turnover, just a fumble.
Yeah.
Keldrick Falk picked up.
Yeah.
But it was kind of the opposite of what we've been saying all year. Is the offense was giving you chance after chance to get a stop. And they weren't able to do it this time. So I'll say C-. It hurts me to go that low for the defense with how they've done this year, but someone was going to get them too this year. Like somebody can have a bad day at any time. And so it was their day.
I'm glad they got tested in this way and experienced a failure on the defensive side this way, because it's been so great for so long. So again, it's difficult to grade. I was going to go C-, and I think that's probably where I need to sit. The critical side of me, because it was so vastly different from what we've seen, that 24-point allowance stat had been out there for so long. It feels bad to go into the D category. I'll just to be different, I'll go D+, because I think they are vastly better than that. And it's just a matter of they were caught off guard on a very trying week. Special teams, really quickly, I think it's an A. There wasn't anything outside of the field goal kicking. I think the punting was pretty good from what I remember. Hudson got one.
He didn't have to do it many times.
He didn't have to do it many times, but he got one inside the 20. There were, I don't remember any bad punts things like that. 3 for 3 from kicks. Do you agree? A for special teams?
Alex did a fantastic job. I don't think you saw as many like on kick returns, which there were a lot of those too. I don't think you saw as many poor decisions maybe for Auburn that you've seen, with maybe just a lack of discipline. And so I think Auburn special teams did a great job. I definitely say A. Alex, I think outside of that one game against Missouri, has looked everything as good as he can. I desperately wanted him to have the shot to win it on the final drive. Like for everything that the season has been, and for him personally,
it would have been awesome.
I thought this is one of those moments that's a storybook written, and it just couldn't happen. But I really wanted it for him.
If he has his full strength and not battling an illness, do you think he can? Do you think they kick it?
A 60? No. Well, I mean,
he's made 60s. He is on the record for 60s in high school.
If it's like you got the two, you got 3 seconds left. If you got the chance, but didn't they get a penalty or take a? It was like 62-ish, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a little bit of extra that was thrown on at the end there.
It's like I would have loved to see them try it between like 58 and 62 range, somewhere in there. if he's, like you said, fully healthy, that was
Yeah.
just, man, it would have been phenomenal.
Would have been awesome. It would have been awesome. All right. Well, there's our grades for Vandy. Certainly not the result we wanted. Another close one. But it's done. It's over with. We'll keep moving forward with the DJ Durkin era. Speaking of, last part for this segment, and we can't get away from that. We'll talk about bye week stuff next week if there's things to talk about. But certainly Durkin did. I mean, what was there anything wrong other than his defense having their worst game with Durkin and game one as interim head coach?
You know, it's easy to look at and compare with what all has gone wrong earlier in the year, and you don't want to. This show is not going to go personal on anyone ever. But I think that when you can see a difference in which you have to, and maybe that's not normally his style, and I'm drawing this out, but I thought you saw a difference in energy from the head coaching spot, just whether it was good or bad. It was always high energy. It's okay, move on. Every time the camera showed him, obviously I don't have a little box on my, I think I'm testing out Fubo now. I don't have a little box.
don't get started with
on
that.
on my screen where I can see him the whole time. But every time the camera cut to him, it just was high energy and a resolve to move on. Something that is resemblant of his unit that you saw all year, I think. And I'm hoping that trickled over to the rest of the team. You have to have that in a coaching change. So maybe that's not normally his thing, but I thought he did a great job of bringing them together. The video clips and everything I've read from and watched of his press conferences this week tells me that he has the right mentality with this team of getting them to the end of the season, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And I just, that post-game presser and then the post-game speech in the locker room they put out yesterday, that's what you want out of a leader in a trying time like this. And I thought that he's done a good job of making sure they stayed rallied together. He mentioned it, so I feel like I can say it, but as you know, in this era that there are guys who are trying to figure out what their next step is in their next location and people trying to get them to come there. You don't put on a performance like that and stay in it with a potential playoff team without blocking some of that out and staying together. So I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far. I love that they have a bye week, not for Mercer, but a bye week to kind of, hey, let's reset. Now let's take a breath. Let's see what we can do going into it. Let's plan for Mercer. Let's plan for Alabama. I think it just overall gives a renewed hope to this fan base to see that kind of resolve. I think once again, you're going to see Jordan Hare packed out for 2 more games for this team and give them every chance they can.
You know, I'm someone who's a fan of continuity, and if ultimately that's where we end up, DJ Durkin is given the opportunity to be the head coach. We were so early in this game, folks, so don't read too much into this. What I saw in this game is a big leap forward in making me feel comfortable with that move.
I would agree.
It is one game, though. One game. So if you're still, just dismissing him because of the past, you're wrong. If you're saying he's the guy off one game, you're wrong.
Agreed.
We're talking about a spectrum here. I think you and I both agree we were moved into the positive. If we were neutral on this, we were moved into the positive side of this. So I'm going to ask you this part, and we'll do another small, quick thing at the end there. Did he move himself into the leading position for head coach for Auburn football based off no information that you know or may or may not know, just feelings, gut? Did he move himself into the lead position? Just with this performance?
Yeah, that's really hard. I think like we said last week, like he's the only one that's going to get the audition, right? Like an audition with Auburn. And so in that sense, is he already kind of in the lead? Maybe. I think no matter what, this helps his case by being able to show if this team comes out and they lose 30-0 in Nashville, I mean, like you said, you don't want to dismiss him because the guy had 5 days to prepare everything. But to show that kind of resolve, I don't really think for those making this decision, a lot of people are going to be upset by what I'm about to say, but the scoreboard almost doesn't even matter when you see that a team can come together like that under that leadership. And so for that reason, I think it has to move his needle into a position that gives him a really good chance if he wants it.
Right. And here's the thing. We acknowledge that he has the leading position just by the sense that he has in the working audition right now. But now I feel that this has become not just by default because you're the interim head coach. This legitimized it, if nothing else. So maybe if we can't say it moves the needle officially into the positive, like he's the lead position now, this at least legitimized it in 1 week. Like as we said in the Kentucky game, sometimes it's not how you win or lose. Excuse me, it's not the win or the loss. It's how you won or you lost. And so this is, I think, evident of that. So we'll see that. Last thing here. We did this last week. We're going to do this for a while. I feel like, yes, come on. We're going to do it. All right. People will scream at us if we don't get this on the record. What we did was the percentage confidence for you, Austin. What if you want to go off of things you do or don't know, if you just want to go off of gut about these candidates for Auburn right now. We're 2 weeks, a week and a half, whatever you say. And this Sunday evening, November the 9th, I think are still candidates that people are at least talking about.
I wish I knew what I said last week.
It doesn't matter. I think that's better that you don't know. Lane, because that tells you that you're just kind of thinking about it on the fly here. Lane Kiffin, Kenny Dillingham, John Sumrall. Let's throw Eli Drinkwitz out there and James Franklin. Is there anybody that should still be in? And Dirk, I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't dismissing because we just talked to him, but Durkin as well. So those 6, I think, are the main ones that people are talking about.
Yeah, we mentioned Charles Kelly too.
Kelly, and you still think that's fair game?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go real quick. Percentage confidence. Don't have to explain yourself. Just percentage confidence right now. James Franklin.
5.
Kenny Dillingham.
15.
I think that's a little bit raised for you from this past week.
I already told you I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure.
I didn't even think we did Kenny Dillingham last week. So
you were we barely did, and it was kind of dismissive. So I think I'm just noting things, folks. That's all. I'm just noting things.
I know nothing. I'm just saying numbers.
I know. John Sumrall.
45.
A little bit lowered. Sorry, I'm doing this to you the whole way. Lane Kiffin.
0.2.
Eli Drinkwitz.
20.
DJ Durkin.
55.
And Charles Kelly.
5.
All right, there you go. He's on the record. I said nothing. I'm fair.
You just made sure everyone knew my ups and downs. That's
exactly right. That's it right there. I just wanted to get you in the crosshairs of everybody else. See, look, he's already knocking the camera around and stuff.
Gotta go.
Percentage confidence right now, week 1.5, 2 into the Auburn new head coaching search. Final topic this evening, main topic, Auburn basketball week 1 is officially done, folks. We are excited. And look, by the time you're maybe watching, listening to this, if you're catching the replay, audio or visual, we've already really kicked it off for week 2 because there's women's and men's on Monday and Tuesday, and we do this on a Sunday evening. So just understand we're doing our best to keep you covered on this in the fly here. Week 1, wow. Let's talk about the men real quick. Really exciting way to start the year. Bethune-Cookman, you hope, you think people just think about names and you think you're just going to walk all over someone. And then you forget, especially if you're someone, just putting myself in the driver's seat here, that covers this, that talks about this for a living. You're aware that at least Bethune-Cookman is expected to win the SWAC. And so, Coach Burgomaster, the rest of the staff, how they've been great, even under Bruce, about scheduling tough mid-major opponents, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, no matter what their name says to you. That game was scary. Overtime win, first one for Mr. Stephen Pearl, and a little bit scary there, wasn't it? We clinched up a little bit, didn't we, Austin?
Just a little bit. I thought a lot about how we just dismissed the first 3 games when we were going through our schedule prediction last week, and I thought, dadgummit, here we go. But yeah, they got tested quick, and a lot of credit should go to Bethune-Cookman for just shooting the lights out. They had some guys who could absolutely shoot on the perimeter, and Auburn was in trouble for a while there. Thankfully, they pull it out, show a lot of resolve in OT, and are able to find a way. But definitely had some people worried. So I'm pretty excited that Auburn was able to pull it out. And it's Bethune-Cookman, but you get tested a little bit early.
Yeah, the test, I think, is probably a good thing for the fans, a good thing for the team, just to remind that it's not going to come easy to you just because a legacy has been built here, just because Pearl is still attached to the head coaching position. And again, I struggle with the overreaction at times from fans, and I have to remind myself that people think that they're informed on these things and they're not, and that's what our job is here to do. And so I hope that you'll listen when we tell you not to overreact to things. Am I saying in any way that there weren't things that need to be worked on? Clearly, there were. You gave up 90 points, 95-90 win in overtime to Bethune-Cookman. You can't have those things happen every game, especially against SEC competition. But obviously, first game, first opportunity for this team to play together. You couple that with the Merrimack win, 95-57. That's what you're supposed to do. And now I don't know a lot about Merrimack. It's the first time I've probably even heard of them, to be honest with you. And
Are you kidding?
I know. I have I tried my hardest to pull out where I've heard Merrimack before, and maybe somewhere in some bracket in the past.
They were at 15 sometime, not that long ago. I feel pretty confident in it.
You're probably right, but that's that. I'm just being brutally honest here. That was the team on the schedule.
First time Auburn ever played them. We talked about lists already.
Yeah,
this was a cross off.
I crossed it off. There's still a long list of that on Clint Richardson's. We'll do that again. We'll update that later on about who we want to play there some other time. I think so. There's your week for the men. You've got 2 wins under your belt. Wofford coming up next, but I think the story is not that Tahad didn't play good at times. I think he's still working on getting his shot down a little bit more consistently to start off the year. He's still doing Tahad things, but Keyshawn Hall in 2 games, my goodness. Do you wonder if you're Bruce Pearl? Do you maybe I should have stuck around just so I could be able to coach this guy? I know you brought him in, but what a week for Keyshawn.
Incredible week for Keyshawn, and I think that you're seeing him be the scorer that a lot of people predicted him to be after leading the Big 12 in scoring last year. And I think, I'm not disagreeing with you on Tahad. I just think that it's a little bit more of he's the player everyone zeroed in on, especially early in this year. For Bethune-Cookman and Merrimack, who have heard about Tahad Pettiford and watched him in the Final Four and everything. He's who's zeroed in on. Now, I think that I'm seeing his passing game be a lot more advanced than it was because he was more getting past 2 last year. I think he's finding guys a little bit easier and looking to get other people involved a little bit more. His scoring is going to come. I'm really not worried about his scoring at all. I think if you can pair him with pair his scoring and what we know he is capable of with what Keyshawn Hall is doing, Auburn's offense gets immediately better. And this is already an offense that's scoring 95 a game. So very, very impressive. Lots of things still coming together. I've been really, really impressed with Sebastian William Adams so far. I think Sway is what Andy and Brad have been calling him. Just a very, very looks the part. I went to one of these games this week. I don't know if I told you that. A lot of you are probably saying, "Oh, I bet it was Bethune-Cookman." It was not. It was Merrimack, and Emily and I got to have a nice night and watch Auburn beat up on a team they've never played before. But he looks the part, man. He looks like he is all ready to be here, play with the big boys. And I'm very impressed with Sway and what he will continue to do for this team as he develops.
Yeah, I think he's been the pleasant surprise because he's a true freshman coming in. But listen, this is a brand new team with opportunities abounding, and people want to seize it, do it, and he has been one of those here. I thought, Mech, as he's being called, Emeka Oporom, I thought he had a pretty good game too.
Very impressive.
With Keyshawn Murphy continuing to just have these little injuries and keeping him out from playing significant minutes. And at all in the last game, talk about seizing opportunities. He did that, showcased his ability to get up and not just get to the rim, but to defend the rim as well. So I think a lot of the concern that I'm hearing from Auburn fans, Austin, is I'm so worried about we don't have a quote unquote true big man. Folks, I just need to pin this in. There is no such thing as a true big man. Your true big man is what fits your system. Just because it doesn't match up to the traditional, which I'm a big fan of, center, power forward, small forward, shooting guard, point guard. That's the traditional thing. Offenses have worked under Bruce in a variety of ways. People forget that Anthony McLemore was our big man during the the main big man during the run to the Final Four the first time. And, that was, I think he was 6'9", maybe something like that. Or,
Yeah.
Simeon Bowers, I know it wasn't one of the best teams. He was all of 6'9", and he was the big center. Now he was big bodied and things like that. But I think people struggle with the idea that it has to fit this mold. It has to be Janai. It has to be Dylan. It has to be these types of players. And I just vehemently disagree with this concept that I just continue to see of not having a true big man. Whatever way works for your system is what your true big man is. And I think you see that with guys like Sway, guys like Emeka, who's a little bit skinnier, a little bit more lanky and things like that. Keyshawn Murphy is that guy. And certainly it's unnerving to see him continue to just have these little injuries here and there. But, I think those are the big storylines from the men's basketball side this week. Is there anything that we missed that you wanted to hit on? Or
no, 2-0 for Stephen Pearl in his first season so far, 2 home wins. I'm sure he was sweating it after that first one with Bethune-Cookman. But I
dreading that call from his father at the end of the game. Can you just imagine that?
I cannot imagine. But I think that they've shown some really good things and some things that maybe tempered some expectations for a lot of people.
Right.
Rightfully so, that this was going to take a time. That there is only Emily was flipping through the program and she said, okay, I really only know Tahad. And I said, well, he's the only one left. So that's okay. That is probably the vast majority of people. And so it's going to take some time. And thankfully Auburn's got another tune-up game here with Wofford. That is a very good team out of the SoCon. They need to take seriously. I think that we've crossed that bridge. They know they're taking everyone seriously now. But it will be a very good one before we see them play against some elite talent. So very fun start to the season for Auburn. That Wofford game is on Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday, I believe.
Tuesday on Veterans Day. Okay.
Yeah. So gear up, folks. That's all we can say. It's going to be an exciting year one under Stephen Pearl. He continues the legacy of his father, but is creating his own legacy. And certainly he got off to a little bit of fireworks with a overtime win over Bethune-Cookman and much more. In a challenging season for the Auburn Tigers, the men's basketball team. Let's cover the women a little bit here. The start also of a new era there with Coach Larry Vickers. Now, he had to go on the road to start. Now, look, we hear the name Charlotte, and you're like, let's be honest. Most of us don't know who is good or bad in women's basketball. The vast majority of the audience, outside of your LSU, your South Carolina, your Texas, your
UConn,
the UConn, the big names. Stanford has been in that. We know Auburn has been struggling to find its footing in terms of getting over into more of the respected categories as of late. Although, we talked about the coaching change a little bit back when it happened, whether we thought it was odd that it changed this year or not. The reality is we're here with Coach Vickers and excited to see what he's going to do at Charlotte. 71-58 overtime win. Both games to start the season go to overtime for them to get their first career Auburn head coaching. That's odd. Has
that ever happened? I would love to know that. And I think that this has already been asked. I think it was Nathan King of Auburn 24/7 asked the same question, but I think he even said, I don't know if you can find that out. I don't know what database would have that, but 2 corresponding coaches of the same sport by different genders get their first program win in overtime in their first game.
Yes. And can I add one element, not basketball? First game for DJ Durkin almost got an overtime win too. So I just
true.
The weirdness of this week was out there. All right, but back to basketball here. So the Charlotte overtime win, going on the road is always tough no matter where you go. And Auburn gets the win to start the Larry Vickers era.
But a good note there though is yes, obviously tied. I think they were tied at 56 going in overtime. Read me the final one more time.
71-58. Great point.
They dominated overtime. Absolutely. I was following that game. This is not a plug. I don't really care what your favorite sport's at, but I'm a big Apple Sports person because it puts the little thing. Look, I got one right there. Puts the little sports on my lock screen when it happens. And I'll be very honest right here. I did not pick Auburn women's basketball to give me score updates, but it happened. And I was like, I'll leave it. I like it. Yeah. And so I was following that game when it went to overtime. And then I saw the final. I was like, well, they said, we're going home. They kicked their butt and walked out the door. And so that's pretty impressive. And I want to get into that box score later on. Maybe we'll talk about in future games. We'll start seeing who's separating themselves as kind of the elite scorers and box scores of the games. But I thought that was incredible resolve for them to go into overtime and just say, we're finishing this.
And you couple that with coming back for Alabama State, 82-41. I mean, just wow.
Slapped them around.
I mean, doubled it up, literally doubled them up. And I mean, look, it's happened before under previous regimes, whether it's men's or women's. That's typically what you're supposed to do to teams that are following into the mid-major conference. You never assume, as we learned with the men, but a very mirroring weeks, overtime wins, slapping someone around at home. For your second game, that's a great start to men's and women's basketball week 1. Folks, it's here. We're excited to talk about it. Make sure you're watching the post-game shows with me for the men's side of things, and we'll continue to cover that here on the Auburn Experience as best we can, whether that'll be a weekly update or something like that. We'll make sure we mention and keep you updated on the latest news of the orange ball aspects of everything on the men's and the women's side. And that's going to do it for episode 149 of the Auburn Experience podcast.
149.
I know, 150. And maybe as a little bit of housekeeping, we don't really have anything special planned for 150.
I was hoping. I don't have anything.
It's been a little bit busy here. And so we had talked about maybe trying to pull something off. I doubt we'll do something other than just having a good old time. So we'll see what. You never know. I get the scheming and stuff happens sometimes.
You and I can talk. Maybe we've mentioned something. Maybe we can figure something out on a bye week. It'd be easy to maybe talk some different talking points. But
yeah, definitely.
You and I can talk this week.
We'll have some fun with it. So please join us next week for that as well, especially live. And we appreciate you guys being on the ride with us as we got to 150. It's not a lot of podcasts get there. If you want to keep up with me, do so on X. I kind of post there sometimes. You can keep up with E2C Network stuff everywhere on social media, direct messages, email, e2cnetwork@gmail.com. Where can they find you?
Yeah, on X, on Instagram, at Austin G. Scott. I'll have to get my Snow Village all readied up and ready to be posted for the world to see.
I need it today. That's the good stuff right there. Christmas Auburn. It doesn't get much better than that, folks. So
it's going to feel like Christmas tomorrow.
No. Okay. I'm sorry. You let me keep going there. All right. That's it before I get myself in trouble. 149 in the books. Thank you all for spending time with us. Before we go, I want to remind you the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things: to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right, folks, that's the show. Thank you for hanging out. I have a limited amount of time. I can stick around for just some, we got a couple thank yous I got to give, and then maybe just some real quick questions. So fire them off right now. Austin, final thoughts for you.
Yeah, not much. Hope everybody's having a good time. See, it looks like a lively chat tonight, so I appreciate it.
Very lively chat.
Somebody asked where they can buy this sweatshirt. You would have to go back to 1980 and ask my father. Because
the year was 1980.
I don't know when he got it, honestly. He was in Auburn from 79 to 83. So as far as I understand he has got it during that time. And I've had it, gosh, he's gave it to me in high school.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a good one. It's very comfortable. I saw somebody else say I should be head coach, and I don't think so. I'm having a great time up in the stands myself. Thanks, though.
Yeah, it's stressful.
You could fire me, but that's about it.
that's I will be hired to be fired, and I'll go sit next to Hugh. I'll go sit next to Gus. I mean, Gus is working right now, but we'll go.
In industry terms, I'd be a real cheap buyout, and I'd take it.
I'll take a cool meal right now and just go
right
shut up
right
now. Go sit with my Snow Village or Austin Snow Village.
I'd be buying the rest of my Snow Village out.
All right, sir. Great having you on again tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks so much, War Eagle.
All right, War Eagle. All right, guys, real quick, like I said, let me round out the show with you guys. Last minute questions, comments, just rapid fire here at the end. I apologize. I don't have more time to give y'all this evening, but family stuff does call right now. So reminders for you, what we got this week. Most of you know the drill, even though it's going to be a bye week. There's going to be plenty of content out there for you all. One of those things is post-game reaction show, stats and stories for Auburn versus Wofford. Join us post-game immediately after that on Tuesday. We will have an Auburn Family Night, 9 Eastern time on Wednesday. There will be no preview and prediction show this Thursday because there's nothing to preview and predict, thankfully, against the bye week usually. But we'll have plenty of other content all week for you guys. So saddle up, hang out with us everywhere that you can get E2C Network content. Now, I want to give thank yous before I go because we had some super chats dropped by Mr. Hunter early on. He says, Durkin got the offense smirking with the bad dad jokes. Cam is the most talented receiver in AU history, also says. So thank you for your support of E2C Network content, Hunter, and thank you for your commentary as well. Even the bad puns that were dropped by you in that. We do appreciate that. Last minute comments here. To see. He got out of here, Tim, on time. Next time, if you'll come back and ask, maybe we can catch him before he leaves. His name. I know. I thought you were asking when he missed. Mr. Dennis Scott is his name. And I believe he's watching. So I thought you were asking what year. But yeah, Mr. Dennis Scott. What else here? What culture things do you want from the next head coach besides winning? I want someone who knows and understands Auburn well. And I know that really limits people. There's some candidates who I think do that. I think Auburn is best in the hands of those that know it and love it and appreciate what it is. And I know that's not really answering the question, but if you're an Auburn person, you know what I mean. So I think that's how I would go with that, Mr. Lemon. You can't hurt feelings on a bye week. Be careful. Be very, very careful, my friend. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Appreciate you being here on the Auburn Experience live podcast recording 189. And we'll do this again next Sunday. I hope to see y'all this week on all the content we got here at E2C Network. I'll do it one more time for you. As we go, the Auburn Creed asks you to do a couple of things: to do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.